lot with.
Good evening and welcome to Collector Cars. I'm Lance, your host. It's going to be a very long evening, folks. They're both back in town. Mr. Trier's been filling in for Mr. Mergens. They're both here tonight. I have no idea what's happening. Mr. Trier, how you doing?
How you doing, Glenn?
Mr. Mergens, how you doing?
Good, good.
Listen, guys, I got bad news. This is something that may affect your pay. I don't know. In the paper today, Comcast closes in on NBC deal. Now, I hear Leno wants my time slot, but, you know, I'm just not going to give it to him.
I thought he was going to be your co-host.
Wait a minute, aren't we? Isn't that what we do?
I can imagine what we're going to be doing.
Well, you know, speaking of that, though, of course,
Yes.
I've been gone, you know, and I suppose I should tell him what I was doing.
What were you doing?
Well, the deal that you got with this whole thing.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah. I mean, I was out on the, out on the inaugural voyage of the Collector Cars TV corporate jet.
No, and I don't tell them that.
Well, what do you mean?
Because they already...
You said
They already
Phoenix.
think I'm getting rich on this.
I was in Phoenix.
Collector Cars corporate jet.
Well, you're a corporate jet.
Listen, can we get different guests next time?
Guests? You still calling us guests? I'm glad you're back. I'm really glad you're, yes, because I had your spot for 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and now you're here to have to straighten this mess all out now.
Yeah,
Believe me,
please.
already. It's not on
You
the
know what?
internet. I got it.
Folks, everything that is supposed to be on the internet is sitting on my desk.
Yeah.
So you can see what happens. I've already had a half a dozen people say, what, we got to wait till Mergens gets back before we can look at the shows again on the computer? Anyway, Bill, they're here for
Okay.
you.
All right.
So we'll put Mr. Broden in high gear and
So should I clarify? I really wasn't on the corporate jet.
thank goodness.
Oh yeah, there's the corporate jet, but
No.
I was in Phoenix.
He
Went out-
hitchhiked.
Well, and I went out for real estate seminar
Is that what I thought you
Yeah.
went for a turkey dinner?
well I did that too, but of course I couldn't not just go to a car show, so I went to the good guys. Southwest Nationals, 4,000 cars. Oh, and there were some good ones. And then I also
I
went
imagine you have just a couple of pictures.
perhaps, yeah,
That's a
and
good
the
idea.
and the Rock and Roll McDonald's, of course. I
And
went-
Rock and Roll McDonald's.
Yeah, there's about 450 cars there. that
That's
night.
pretty cool.
Yeah,
I love it.
Good time was had
See,
by all.
I thought the whole purpose was to grub a meal off your brother.
it was. My sister-in-law is, of course, a gourmet cook, so that was the primary thing. But
There you go.
hey, what can I say?
He told me that that his show was financing your whole trip.
Well, yeah, it's always the way it is.
Bill, you're not helping. You're not helping.
When have we ever helped?
Shh, let's tell him why you're here.
All right, why am I? Oh, okay.
Because I needed a ride to the studio.
That's what it
Actually,
was.
I need a ride home.
It's the only seat they have for me
Debbie
to
and
sit.
Barry dropped me off and said, we're out of here. We have, Billy, if you'll come in on this, Mr. Trier has been so gracious to do all these wonderful film clips for us on different topics. So you have put together a little collage of what they can expect in the near future.
A little bit of upcoming segments we're going to be doing. I know that I've had a lot of response from the cruisers saying they enjoyed some of these things we've done, or most all of them. So we're going to be doing one pretty soon on hood ornaments, and this is a hood ornament on a Packard in the late 30s.
That's
and the radios in the cars of that time usually had the antennas in the sedans up, strung in the ceiling through the chicken wire up in the ceiling, or under the running boards on the open cars. This idea came out for a Packard where that is actually the antenna on the hood ornament. So we're going to get some unusual hood ornaments. So
And I have a photo
tasking.
of the local car that has one of those.
yeah, that's Gene Cohen's Packard. He's got
Oh,
one
is
like
that Gene's?
That
That's
isn't
not
his,
this one, but I
he's
have-
got one like that.
I've
yeah.
got a good. I'll share that with you, and you can put that on there.
Yeah.
You ready?
Sure, go ahead.
All right.
And then we're going to do a segment on unusual automobiles. So this happens to be a
Bring
1910.
that back just a little bit, Bill.
This is a
You got
1910.
to see this. It's actually got 8 wheels.
Right, the 1910 Reeves Octo Auto. This gentleman built this car in 1910 and had the idea that from Pullman railroad cars you got a better ride with more wheels, so he's going to try that out on a car. So he
I
puts
thought
all
it was
these.
a tire manufacturer that designed a car.
He claimed this car would really give you a great ride, so he introduced it and showed it at the inaugural Indianapolis race in 1911, the very first
Really?
race. with his order pad there and went home with 0 orders. So apparently the car did not go over well.
They said
It was
that
an
was it.
Overland is what it was, with all these wheels put on it, but that car was supposed to have been reproduced.
How did all 4 wheels in the front
Yeah, the front,
steer?
the front, yeah, that must have been fun to drive without power
I
steering.
was going to say. All right, then we're also
Okay.
going to do a show.
Oh, unusual police cars. And this is in Italy, and this is not a fake. This is a real Lamborghini police car.
Do you think we could get a $250,000 budget for a Lamborghini in Sarasota?
I could just see it happening. But that's
Got to
we're
fit in
gonna-
the corporate jet, though.
We're going to have we're going to have a segment on unusual police cars, and then if you want to go to the next one, we're going to have a segment coming up on unusual auto crashes, and there's one with a car sitting on top of another one. But if you look very closely at that car, it is the same car you just saw before. It
It's the
wasn't short.
$250,000 Lamborghini that they just
It was
bought.
right. Can you imagine this patrolman having to go back to his captain saying, "I just crunched up the Lamborghini"? But that is the police car that got in a wreck. So we'll do a segment on unusual wrecks, and this last one is kind of neat because this goes in great with the hot rodders, because this is a 1948 picture of the first hot rod show ever that started out shows with old cars and with cars like cruising cars. It was held in the Armory in Los Angeles, 1948, and then the shows grew from there. But actually, this is the beginning of the hot rod era where everything started, because when a serviceman came back after World War II, they had some money to spend. They had knowledge of a lot of mechanics, things to do, to build things, and at that time, the auto production was just going back into new cars, and the brand new cars were coming out and being sold by the bunch because everybody wanted one, and there was money. So that created a lot of trade-ins, and the dealers were just stocked with all kinds of Fords and Chevys out of the 30s, and real nice, clean cars. They sold for a song.
Now, why California? But this all started in California.
It all started in
and this
California.
was literally the first hot rod show.
The first, show of any kind like you do.
And it
These are
actually,
things
the
that-
guy who put this on started Hot Rod Magazine.
That's right. The program for that show became actually the first issue of Hot Rod Magazine. He decided to go ahead and keep the magazine going after he made the souvenir program.
So this guy is like the founder of the Cruising to the Hop shows.
Right.
Yeah.
Founding father.
Yeah, started out, and
that.
everything started in California with this, mainly because, first of all, you had a wonderful climate. You had a great climate out there to do this year-round, and also one thing that was nice was outside of Los Angeles, on the east side of it, there's all those dry lake beds, and they could go out and run and race those cars all over the place.
Yeah.
So that made it really pretty special to
Cool.
go out and drive those cars. But that's where it all started. And
Now Bill and I had at one time, and Bill even searched down some of the big shots with NSRA, talking about why pre-49, why it had to be 48 or older. And we had been told by someone at one time that it had to do with running boards, that it was because of running boards. Don't you think this would be more, since this was 1948, first hot rod show? Isn't that kind of...
Yeah, except that they didn't start that, the National Street Rod Association, till in the 60s. And so there was something there. There's really never really been proven one way or the other.
One
but,
way or the other,
You know,
of how,
it was
right.
mostly the idea that those are the cars the guys were driving at the time.
Right.
So therefore, let's just call it pre-49, and that's what a street rod will be, and that's how they did it.
Okay.
And there's one of your authentic ones, and we're going to do a whole segment on a lot of
Very
these.
cool.
Where it all started later on, so that'll be
Cool
kinda fun.
stuff. All right, we have some more cool stuff for you from Mr. John Graham. You know John.
Yes, I do.
There he is with his
There he
handy
is?
dandy
Oh.
camera. This is these are some photographs from the Hemmings Sport and Exotic Show. Happened back in August of 09. 1986 Alfa Romeo GTV6.
You know, and again, this is stuff we just don't get to see as much, but they certainly, I don't know what it is about the Northeast, but there's some fabulous cars there.
Look at the windows on the side of this. Is that middle one a solid one, or the back one's a solid one, or?
I would guess the back one is that solid one.
Pretty neat stuff.
And of course, Hemmings, you know, they actually do a magazine every month on this type of automobiles, so, or automobiles, I should say. The